Welcome to Fate Library. Have you ever wondered what happens when the final boss of a dark fantasy world realizes he is trapped in a never-ending game? Not just an ordinary game, but a twisted time loop controlled by a spoiled, arrogant brat who calls himself the chosen hero. Today, we are diving into an epic tale of vengeance, system hacking, and absolute domination. This is the story of a demon sovereign who got so sick and tired of killing the same annoying hero that he hijacked the system itself, regressed to the past, and decided to ruin the hero's life before he could even start his journey. Sit back, relax, and let's get into part 1 of the Regressor Exterminator. The story opens in the throne room of the apocalypse. The sky outside the shattered, stained, glass windows is bleeding a deep crimson, and the ruins of humanity's last stronghold lie burning. Sitting upon a throne forged from the bones of fallen dragons is our MC, Vane. He is the demon sovereign, the calamity of Eldoria, and the final boss of this world. He rests his head on his hand, looking absolutely, mind-numbingly bored. The massive obsidian doors of the throne room blast open. Standing in the doorway, panting and covered in divine armor, is Arthur Pendelton, the so-called chosen hero. Arthur raises his holy sword, a smug, arrogant grin plastered across his face. "It's over, Vane," Arthur shouts, his voice echoing through the massive hall. "This time I've gathered all the hidden pieces. I've maxed out my stats. I know all your attack patterns. Prepare to die." Vane doesn't even stand up. He just sighs, a deep, rumbling sound that shakes the foundation of the castle. "You know, Arthur," Vane mutters, his voice dripping with pure exhaustion. "You said the exact same thing the last 98 times. Arthur's smug smile falters for a split second. What? How could you? Before Arthur can finish his cliché hero monologue, Vane lifts a single finger. The panel cuts to an absolutely terrifying shot of Vane's demonic mana manifesting. The space around Arthur twists, gravity collapses in on itself. And with a sickening crunch, the chosen hero is crushed into a tiny, bloody cube. The holy sword clatters uselessly to the floor. Vane stares at the bloodstain and groans. He has won. Humanity is defeated, but there is no satisfaction in his eyes. Suddenly, a massive, glowing blue system window appears above Arthur's remains. It reads, "The hero has died. Initiating regression sequence. Attempt number 99. Vane narrows his glowing crimson eyes. For his entire existence, he has felt a strange sense of déjà vu. He always knew Arthur's attack patterns. But until this exact moment, he couldn't see the system. Now, standing at the absolute peak of power, his consciousness breaches the boundary of the world. Another prompt flashes, rewinding time to checkpoint 1, 10 years in the past. The hero will retain all memories and knowledge of the future. "So that's how it is," Vane whispers. The realization hits him like a tidal wave. He isn't just a king, he is a pawn. He is nothing more than an obstacle in Arthur's personalized tutorial. No matter how many times Vane wins, the universe will simply reset so this spoiled brat can try again. Arthur doesn't win through skill. He wins by brute, forcing reality itself until he gets a lucky run. Vane stands up from his throne, his aura flaring with unprecedented rage. The sheer force of his killing intent causes the very fabric of space to crack like glass. The regression magic begins to pull at the world, breaking it down into pixels of light. "I refuse," Vane snarls. He reaches his hand directly into the glowing blue regression portal. The system blares with red warning sirens. "Warning, unauthorized entity interfering with regression sequence. Warning, admin privileges required." "Admin," Vane sneers, his hand plunging deeper into the temporal rift. "I am the sovereign of this world. If anyone holds the authority here, it's me." With a roar that shatters the throne room, Vane pours his entire existence, his life force, his immense mana, and his very soul into the system window. The blue light turns violently crimson. A new, terrifying sound rings out in his mind. Ding. Anomaly detected. The demon sovereign has breached the core system. Granting title, the system hacker. Unlocking unique authority, the timeline god system. You have latched onto the hero's regression. Commencing temporal jump, everything goes white. When Vane opens his eyes, he isn't in his bone-forged throne room. He is staring up at a moldy, wooden ceiling. The smell of cheap ale and stale bread fills his nostrils. He sits up, gasping for air, only to realize he is no longer in his massive, demonic body. He looks down at his hands. They are thin, pale, and incredibly weak. He is lying in a rundown room. A crimson system window pops up in front of his face. Welcome, user. Vane, current status. You have successfully regressed 10 years into the past. Host body, Vane Valerius, the exiled mana, less third son of the Valerius noble family. Level 1. Warning, your demon sovereign powers are heavily restricted by this fragile human vessel. You must level up to unseal your original stats. Vane stares at the screen. He clenches his frail human fist and lets out a low, dark chuckle that slowly builds into maniacal laughter. He isn't mad. In fact, he has never felt more alive. For the first time in his existence, he isn't waiting in a throne room for a hero to come to him. He is free. He walks over to a cracked mirror in the room. The face staring back at him is young, maybe 18 years old, with messy black hair and striking crimson eyes. Vane Valerius, he says, testing the name on his tongue. He accesses the memories of this body. The original Vane Valerius was a piece of trash. Born into a prestigious family of awakeners, he had 0 mana. He was bullied, beaten, and eventually exiled to this backwater slum town to die quietly. Don't worry, Vane whispers to his reflection. I'll make sure the Valerius name becomes something they fear. But right now, petty revenge on a noble family isn't his priority. He opens his new timeline god system. Main quest, the Regressor Exterminator objective. Arthur Pendelton has regressed to this timeline. He plans to monopolize all the hidden pieces. Stop him, steal his growth, ruin his plans. Vane smiles. A sinister, villainous smile that looks incredibly out of place on this fragile human face. Because he knows exactly what Arthur is going to do today. Today is the day the tutorial system descends upon the human realm. Today is the day Arthur awakens his hero class. And most importantly, today is the day Arthur is supposed to claim his first hidden piece. The Abyssal Blade, an overpowered growth-type sword hidden in the rank Goblin Lord's cave just outside this very town. In every previous loop, Arthur used his future knowledge to sneak into that cave, steal the sword, and use it to catapult himself to the top of the Awakener rankings. Not this time, little hero, Vane says. He grabs a rusty iron dagger off the bedside table, the only weapon this trash noble owned. This time, the final boss is playing the game. Vane steps out of the inn. The town of Oakhaven is bustling with medieval life. Oblivious to the fact that the system is about to initiate and change their world forever, Vane ignores the crowds and heads straight for the Whispering Woods. Deep within the woods lies a hidden cavern. To anyone else, it looks like a normal rock formation, but Vane channels a tiny fraction of his sealed demonic mana into his eyes. Skill activated, Admin's Eye Level 1. The illusion fades, revealing a glowing red portal. The E-rank Goblin Lord's Cave. This dungeon is meant for a party of at least 10 level 5 awakeners. Vane is a level 1 human with a rusty dagger. He steps through the portal without a second thought. The air inside the dungeon is thick and foul. The moment he steps in, 3 goblins notice him. They are ugly, green, heavily muscled creatures holding crude spears. They shriek and charge at him, expecting an easy meal. The panel shows Vane standing completely still. His face is deadpan. In his past life, he commanded legions of archdemons. Goblins are literally microbes to him. As the first goblin lunges, thrusting its spear at Vane's chest, Vane doesn't even dodge. He simply unleashes a fraction of his killing intent. Passive skill activated, Sovereign's Bloodlust sealed. The effect is instantaneous. The air in the cavern becomes suffocatingly heavy. The 3 goblins freeze in mid-air, their eyes wide with sheer, unadulterated terror. Their primitive brains can't comprehend it, but their souls recognize what is standing in front of them. This isn't a human. This is an apex predator. This is the end of the world. The goblins drop their weapons and collapse to their knees, shaking uncontrollably. They are literally paralyzed by fear. Vane casually walks forward. Swish, swish, swish. With 3 effortless fluid motions, he slits their throats with a rusty dagger. You have killed a level 3 goblin. You have leveled up. Your sealed stats are slightly loosening. Too easy, Vane mutters. He proceeds deeper into the dungeon. What follows is not a battle. It is a one-sided massacre. Vane doesn't use flashy magic or cheat skills. He uses pure, raw combat experience. He knows exactly how these monsters move, how they breathe, and where their blind spots are. He is a phantom in the dark, leaving a trail of green blood and severed limbs in his wake. Within 30 minutes, Vane reaches the boss room. Standing in the center of the massive cavern is the Goblin Lord. It is twice the size of a normal human, wielding a massive club and covered in crude iron armor. Behind the Goblin Lord, resting on a stone pedestal, is the hidden piece, the Abyssal Blade. It is a sleek black katana radiating a dark, ominous energy. The Goblin Lord roars, a sound that would make any low-level awakener wet their pants. It charges at Vane, bringing its massive club down in an earth-shattering overhead strike. Vane doesn't run. He looks at the Abyssal Blade on the pedestal, then looks at his rusty dagger. I really need an upgrade, he sighs. As the club descends, Vane activates his unique class skill. Skill activated, Admin Override Stat Swap Duration, 5 seconds. This is the terrifying power of the Timeline God system. For exactly 5 seconds, Vane swaps his level 5 stats with the Goblin Lord's level 15 stats. The Goblin Lord's massive muscles suddenly deflate, its eyes widening in confusion as it feels its strength completely vanish. At the exact same moment, Vane feels a surge of raw power flood his frail human body. Vane sidesteps the now weakened club strike with blinding speed. He leaps into the air, the panels showing him completely eclipsing the massive monster. With a cold, emotionless glare, Vane drives the rusty dagger directly through the gap in the Goblin Lord's helmet. The 5 seconds end, the stats swap back, but it doesn't matter. The boss is already dead. The massive Goblin Lord crashes to the ground, shaking the cavern. You have defeated the E-rank boss, Goblin Lord. You have leveled up 5 times. First unseal requirement met, unlocking 5% of Demon Sovereign mana. A wave of black and crimson aura explodes from Vane's body, temporarily illuminating the dark cave. His physical muscles tighten, his senses sharpen, and he feels a fraction of his true power return. He walks over to the stone pedestal and picks up the Abyssal Blade. As his hand wraps around the hilt, a system prompt appears. Warning, this item is soul bound to the hero class, attempting to override. Vane's eyes glow with a menacing red light. Override it. Admin privilege confirmed. Soul binding erased. The Abyssal Blade now belongs to the system hacker. Vane gives the blade a test swing. It cuts through the air with a terrifying, silent whistle. It's a perfect weapon for his current level. He smirks, sheathes the blade, and walks over to the massive corpse of the Goblin Lord. He climbs up and sits on top of the dead monster's head, resting the Abyssal Blade over his shoulder. And then he waits. Meanwhile, just outside the Whisper Woods, the panel cuts to Arthur Pendelton. Arthur is jogging toward the cave entrance. He is panting, but his face is twisted into a smug, arrogant grin. Perfect, Arthur mutters to himself. The regression worked flawlessly. It's the exact same day, the exact same time. The world doesn't even know the system exists yet. Arthur pulls up his blue system window. Name, Arthur Pendelton, class, the chosen hero, level 1. I may be level 1, but I have the memories of 99 past lives, Arthur gloats, his inner monologue echoing through the panel. I know every secret, every hidden dungeon. I'll grab the Abyssal Blade first. With that sword, I'll clear the academy, build my harem, and absolutely crush that annoying demon boss, Vane, in record time. Arthur approaches the illusionary rock wall. He knows the secret code to dispel it. He touches the rocks in a specific pattern, and the red portal reveals itself. Time to claim my birthright, Arthur says, stepping into the dungeon with absolute confidence. He walks into the first corridor, expecting to find the 3 goblin guards. Instead, he steps in a puddle of green blood. He looks down. The 3 goblins are dead, their throats slit with terrifying precision. Arthur's smug smile twitches. What? Someone is already here? No, that's impossible. Nobody knows about this dungeon yet. It's a hidden piece. Panic starts to set in. Arthur draws his basic iron sword and starts sprinting through the dungeon. The deeper he goes, the more horrifying the scene becomes. Piles of dead goblins. No, 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 Arthur screams, sprinting toward the boss room. My sword, my cheat item. Who the hell is stealing my perfect run? Arthur bursts through the massive doors of the boss room, fully expecting to find a high-level awakener party that somehow stumbled into his secret. Instead, the boss room is dead silent. Arthur stops in his tracks, his eyes wide in disbelief. The massive goblin lord is dead on the floor, and sitting on top of its head is a single 18-year-old boy. The boy is casually tossing an apple in one hand and resting the legendary abyssal blade over his shoulder with the other. Arthur recognizes the sword immediately. "Why you? That's my sword. Who are you? How did you get here?" Vane takes a bite of the apple, the crunch echoing loudly in the silent cavern. He looks down at Arthur, his glowing red eyes piercing straight through the chosen hero's soul. Vane smiles. It's the kind of smile that makes every instinct in Arthur's body scream in terror, even though he doesn't know why. "Hello, Arthur," Vane says, his voice dripping with dark amusement. "You're late." Arthur stumbles back, his heart pounding in his chest. How do you know my name?" The panel focuses on Vane's terrifying, glowing red eyes as a crimson system window materializes next to his face, visible only to the audience. Admin log. The hero's script has been successfully derailed. "Oh, Arthur," Vane whispers, his bloodlust slowly filling the room. "I know everything about you, and trust me, your perfect little speedrun, it ends today." And that is where we are ending part 1. Let me tell you, the look on Arthur's face is absolutely priceless. Vane is not just going to kill him. He is going to psychologically destroy him by stealing every single cheat item he ever planned to get. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2, where we'll see Vane take his new identity to the Awakener Academy and absolutely humiliate the arrogant nobles who thought he was trash. Welcome back to Fate Library. Last time, we left off with an absolute banger of a cliffhanger. Arthur, the arrogant chosen hero, who thought he had this timeline completely figured out, just walked into the secret rank boss room expecting an easy clear. Instead, he found the massive goblin lord dead, and sitting on top of its severed head was Vane, holding Arthur's precious hidden piece, the abyssal blade. Arthur's smug face completely drops. He stumbles backward, his mind racing. In all of his 99 past lives, this dungeon was completely empty. It was his guaranteed starting boost. "Who the hell are you?" Arthur screams, drawing his basic iron sword. He points it at Vane, his hands visibly shaking. "That sword, put it down. That belongs to me. You have no idea what you're interfering with, you extra." Vane doesn't move. He takes another bite of his apple, his glowing crimson eyes locking onto Arthur. To Vane, this is the most entertaining moment of his entire existence. For eons, he sat in a dark throne room waiting for this exact brat to come and kill him. Now the roles are completely reversed. Vane is the one sitting at the starting line, holding the prize. "Belongs to you?" Vane repeats, his voice echoing with a dark, unnatural resonance that makes the hairs on Arthur's arms stand up. Vane hops down from the massive goblin lord's head, landing gracefully without making a single sound. "I didn't see your name on it, chosen hero." Arthur's eyes go wide. The panel zooms in on his terrified, sweating face. "How does he know my class?" Arthur's internal monologue screams. "Nobody knows I'm the chosen hero yet. The system just initiated today." "Is this guy a regressor too?" "No, that's impossible. My skill is unique." Desperate to understand what he's looking at, Arthur quickly activates his unique hero skill, Eye of the Constellations. It's an overpowered scanning skill that allows him to see the name, level, and stats of any entity. A blue system window pops up in front of Arthur's face. He stares at it, expecting to see Vane's weakness. Instead, the screen glitches out with red static. "Scanning entity. Error. Error, entity is out of bounds. Warning. The entity you are trying to view possesses admin privileges. Scan failed. Your eyes have suffered minor mana damage." Arthur gasps, grabbing his face as a sharp pain shoots through his eyes. "What? Admin privileges? What the hell does that mean?" Vane chuckles. The sound is cold, hollow, and absolutely dripping with malice. A crimson system window pops up for Vane. The hero attempted to scan your stats. Admin privilege, auto block activated. "You look confused, Arthur," Vane says, slowly walking toward the hero. The abyssal blade hums with dark energy in his hand. "You're wondering why the script isn't going exactly as you planned, aren't you?" You thought you could just stroll in here, grab the shiny sword, get a few level ups and speedrun your way to the top. Again. Arthur steps back, his iron sword trembling. Who are you? Tell me. Just a guy who got really tired of watching you cheat, Vane smirks. Arthur's arrogance finally breaks through his fear. He's just trying to intimidate me, Arthur thinks. I have the battle experience of 99 lives. He's just some random thief who got lucky and found my sword. Even without it, my swordsmanship is at the master tier. Give me the sword, Arthur snarls, his iron blade glowing with a faint blue light, or I'll take it from your corpse. Arthur lunges forward with incredible speed. The panel shows a beautiful, dynamic shot of Arthur executing a high-level skill, Crescent Moon Slash. It's an advanced technique he spent 3 lifetimes mastering. A wave of blue mana slices through the air, aimed directly at Vane's neck. It is a perfect, flawless strike, but Vane is the final boss. He has seen Arthur use this exact move thousands of times. He knows the timing, the angle, and the exact blind spot it creates. Vane doesn't even use a skill. He just tilts his head slightly to the left. The crescent of blue mana misses his ear by a millimeter, shattering the stone wall behind him. Arthur's eyes bulge in pure shock. He dodged it, without even moving his feet. Before Arthur can recover his stance, Vane is suddenly standing less than an inch away from him. The speed is incomprehensible. Arthur doesn't even have time to blink before Vane's hand shoots out and grabs him by the throat. With effortless strength, Vane lifts the chosen hero completely off the ground, choking the life out of him. Arthur thrashes wildly, dropping his iron sword and desperately clawing at Vane's grip, but it feels like he's trying to pry off a steel vise. Your form is sloppy, Vane whispers, his glowing red eyes boring into Arthur's terrified face. You put too much weight on your back foot during the swing. You rely too much on your skills and not enough on your instincts. It's pathetic, really, and to think I actually used to take you seriously. Arthur is gagging, his face turning purple. He tries to access his inventory to pull out a potion or a teleport scroll. But a red prompt flashes in his vision. System error, admin override in effect, inventory access denied. Oh, looking for an escape item. Vane mocks, glancing at the invisible screen that only the two of them can see. Not today. I think you need to learn a lesson about taking things that don't belong to you. Vane raises the abyssal blade. The dark aura of the sword flares up, recognizing its true master. A crimson system prompt appears in front of Vane. Would you like to execute loot confiscation on the item, the abyssal blade? This will permanently sever all ties between the item and the hero class. Vane smirks. Yes. A pulse of black energy shoots out from the sword, washing over Arthur. A deafening buzzer sound echoes in Arthur's mind. Warning, fatal error. The item, the abyssal blade, has been permanently revoked from your destiny path. Your fate has been altered, stats permanently reduced. Arthur lets out a muffled scream of absolute despair. That sword was the cornerstone of his entire early game build. It was supposed to be his ticket to dominating the academy. And now the system itself is telling him he can never, ever possess it. Having made his point, Vane casually tosses Arthur across the room. The chosen hero slams into the cave wall and crumples to the floor, gasping for air, coughing up blood, and shivering uncontrollably. Vane walks toward the exit of the boss room, not even looking back at the pathetic heap on the ground. Don't follow me, Arthur, Vane says, his voice echoing in the dark cavern, or I'll send you to your 100th life a lot earlier than you expect. Arthur is left completely alone in the dark, bloodied, weaponless, and mentally shattered. The speedrun is officially dead. The scene cuts to the outside of the Whispering Woods. Vane steps out into the sunlight, taking a deep breath of fresh air. A few notifications pop up. You have successfully derailed the hero's destiny. Admin EXP gained. You have leveled up. Your sealed demonic mana has loosened by an additional 2%. Vane flexes his hands, feeling the dark energy swirling beneath his skin. This human body, Vane Valerius, was originally so frail, but the level ups are rapidly repairing the mana circuits. Still, he needs more power if he's going to completely dominate the late-game variables. He pulls up his memories of the original Vane Valerius. The Valerius family is a high, ranking noble household in the capital, known for producing elite awakeners. But Vane was born with a mana pool of absolute zero. He was a disgrace. His older brother, Cedric Valerius, made his life a living hell, eventually having him exiled to the slums. But today is a very special day in the capital. It's the official registration day for the Imperial Awakener Academy. It's the one day where anyone, noble or commoner, can touch the mana measurement stone to prove their worth. In the original timeline, Arthur used the Abyssal Blade to score the highest rank in the Academy's history. Embarrassing the nobles and securing his place as a superstar. Looks like I'm going back to school, Vane smirks. The panel transitions beautifully. We get a sweeping, massive shot of the Imperial capital. At the center of it all is the Awakener Academy, a gigantic coliseum-like structure where thousands of aspiring students have gathered. Vane arrives at the Academy courtyard. It is absolutely packed with arrogant young nobles showing off their flashy armor and nervous commoners hoping for a miracle. As Vane walks through the crowd, keeping his head down, he hears a loud, obnoxious voice that immediately grates on his nerves. Out of the way, peasants. Make room for the true heir of the Valerius family. Walking down the center of the path is Cedric Valerius, Vane's older brother. Cedric is draped in incredibly expensive, enchanted gold armor. Look at him, a commoner whispers. That's Cedric. They say he awakened an A rank fire affinity before the registration even started. Vane watches this from the shadows, completely unamused. An A rank fire affinity? Vane thinks, almost laughing out loud. My lowest ranking imp summons had S rank fire affinities. Cedric struts up to the main stage, where the Academy instructors are standing next to the mana measurement stone. Go ahead, Lord Cedric, the head instructor says, bowing respectfully. Cedric places his hand on the crystal. Instantly, it erupts into a blinding, fiery red light. The heat is so intense that the front row of the crowd has to step back. The crystal hums violently, projecting a massive A rank symbol into the air. The crowd erupts into wild applause. Cedric smirks, waving to his adoring fans. As expected of my noble blood, he boasts loudly. I pity anyone who has to follow a performance like that. The head instructor smiles. An incredible display, Lord Cedric. Truly, the Valerius bloodline is blessed. Next applicant, please step forward. The crowd goes quiet as they wait to see who is brave enough to follow Cedric. Vane pulls down his hood, revealing his messy black hair and striking crimson eyes. He walks calmly out of the crowd and steps up to the stage. The moment Cedric sees Vane's face, his smug smile completely vanishes, replaced by utter shock and disgust. Vane, Cedric stammers, pointing a shaking finger at him. What are you doing here? You piece of trash, you were exiled. You have zero mana. Are you trying to humiliate our family in front of the entire capital? The crowd immediately starts whispering. The head instructor frowns, looking at Vane with clear disdain. Vane Valerius, you do not possess the mana required to even attend this academy. Step down from the stage immediately, or I will have the guards throw you out. Vane ignores the instructor completely. He ignores his screaming, arrogant brother. He just calmly walks up to the massive white mana measurement stone. I said step away from the stone. The instructor yells, reaching out to grab Vane's shoulder. But the moment the instructor's hand gets within an inch of Vane, an overwhelming, suffocating pressure fills the entire courtyard. It is the sovereign's bloodlust. The instructor's eyes roll back into his head, and he collapses to his knees, gasping for air as if the oxygen was just deleted. The entire crowd falls dead silent. The magical birds in the sky stop singing and plummet to the ground. Cedric takes a terrified step backward, his gold armor clanking. What is this pressure? Is this coming from him? Vane doesn't say a word. He simply raises his hand and places his palm flat against the glowing white crystal. For a split second, absolutely nothing happens. The crowd holds its breath. And then, the stone doesn't glow red. It doesn't glow blue or green or gold. The massive white crystal turns pitch, absolute void like black. It is a darkness so deep and profound that it seems to suck the light out of the entire courtyard. Black lightning arcs off the stone, cracking the marble stage beneath Vane's feet. The dark aura shoots hundreds of feet into the sky, tearing through the clouds and turning the sunny afternoon into an eclipse. The crystal begins to aggressively vibrate, whining with a high-pitched screech. It wasn't built to measure the mana of the demon sovereign. System prompt, calculating mana level. Error, capacity exceeded. Error, error, error. With a deafening boom, the massive, indestructible mana measurement stone completely shatters into a million pieces. The shockwave blows the front row of the crowd off their feet. Cedric is sent flying backward, landing unceremoniously on his back in the dirt. Dust and black mana clear from the stage. Vane is standing there, completely unharmed, casually dusting off his sleeves. The head instructor is on the ground, trembling in absolute terror, staring at the shattered remains of the priceless artifact. The entire capital is dead silent. Nobody breathes, nobody blinks. Vane looks down at his older brother, Cedric, who is shivering in the dirt. Vane tilts his head, a sinister, chilling smile spreading across his face. "Who did you say was a piece of trash, Cedric?" Vane asks, his voice carrying effortlessly across the dead, silent courtyard. "I think you need to be taught some manners." And that is where we are wrapping up Chapter 2. Talk about an epic entrance. Vane just showed up, completely broke the power scale, humiliated his arrogant brother, and set himself up to absolutely take over the Awakener Academy. You definitely do not want to miss Chapter 3, where Vane is going to show these spoiled nobles what real power looks like. Subscribe to Fate Library. Welcome back to Fate Library. We left off with a moment that literally shook the foundations of the Imperial Awakener Academy. Vane, the supposedly mana-less, disgraced third son of the Valerius family, just placed his hand on the priceless mana measurement stone. Instead of a normal color, the crystal turned pitch black, absorbed the surrounding light, and violently exploded into a million pieces. The courtyard is dead silent. Dust and black mana particles drift through the air like snow. Cedric Valerius, who just moments ago was bragging about his A-rank fire affinity, is sitting in the dirt, completely paralyzed by fear. Vane looks down at his older brother, his glowing crimson eyes piercing through Cedric's soul. "Who did you say was a piece of trash, Cedric? I think you need to be taught some manners." Cedric's mouth opens and closes like a fish out of water. He tries to summon his A-rank fire mana. But his mana circuits are completely locked up by Vane's residual sovereign's bloodlust. Cedric can't even lift a finger. The terrifying pressure rolling off Vane is something Cedric has never felt in his life. What is the meaning of this? A booming voice suddenly echoes across the courtyard. The crowd parts as an elderly man in pristine white and gold robes steps forward, flanked by elite academy guards. This is Headmaster Orion, an S-rank mage and one of the most powerful awakeners in the Empire. He looks at the shattered remains of the measurement stone, and his face turns purple with rage. "Vane Valerius," Headmaster Orion barks, his voice amplified by magic. "You dare destroy an ancient artifact of the Academy." Guards, restrain this mana-less fool immediately. 4 elite guards draw their weapons and charge at Vane. The crowd gasps, expecting the boy to be instantly subdued. Vane doesn't even draw the abyssal blade. He simply turns his head and glares at the guards. Skill activated, admin's authority sealed. The air around Vane distorts. A pulse of invisible, heavy gravity slams into the 4 elite guards. They don't just stop running. They are instantly forced down onto their hands and knees, their faces grinding into the dirt. The marble floor beneath them cracks under the immense pressure. They try to stand, but it looks like a mountain has been dropped on their shoulders. Headmaster Orion's eyes widen in absolute disbelief. Gravity magic, without an incantation. Impossible, you have 0 mana. 0 mana? Vane chuckles darkly. He slowly walks toward the headmaster, the pressure in the courtyard intensifying with every step. "You humans rely on these fragile little rocks to tell you how strong you are. The stone didn't break because I have no mana. It broke because my mana pool is an ocean, and your little toy was a teacup." Orion instinctively takes a step back, his S-rank instincts screaming at him that the boy in front of him is a monster. "Why use? What rank are you?" Vane smirks. "Rank, that's a system for mortals, but if you must categorize me, put me in S-class." I believe Cedric's reserved room just opened up. Vane glances back at Cedric, who is still shivering in the dirt. Cedric doesn't dare argue. The headmaster, too terrified to cause a scene with whatever ancient power Vane has awakened, slowly nods. Why yes, Orion stammers, completely losing his dignified composure. S-Class Dormitory, Room 1. It is yours, Vane Valerius. Vane smiles, turning on his heel and walking toward the grand dormitory building. The entire crowd of thousands of students parts for him in dead silence, bowing their heads involuntarily as he passes. He just established absolute dominance on day 1. Before we dive into Vane exploring his overpowered new room and torturing the chosen hero, I have a quick question for you. Are you enjoying seeing arrogant nobles and cliché heroes getting put in their place? If you are, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to Fate Library. Now back to the absolute dominance. Vane opens the double mahogany doors of S-Class Room 1. It is less of a dorm room and more of a luxury penthouse. It has a massive king-sized bed, a private magical training room, and a balcony. He tosses the abyssal blade onto the bed and stretches his human muscles. The level ups from the goblin cave, and the sheer act of asserting dominance have loosened his sealed demonic mana to 10%. But it's not enough. He needs to completely break the limits of this fragile body if he's going to wage war against the constellations. Vane sits on the edge of the bed and opens his Crimson System window. Timeline God System accessed. Welcome, System Hacker. Let's see what else this admin interface can do, Vane mutters. He navigates through the glowing red menus. He sees tabs for world quests, constellation packs, and dungeon cores. But one specific tab catches his eye. It is labeled Player Tracker. Vane clicks on it and a search bar appears. He types in the name, Arthur Pendelton. The system whirs, and suddenly, a massive holographic screen projects into the middle of the room. It acts like a live security feed. It shows exactly what Arthur is doing in real time, complete with audio, and a display of Arthur's current stats and health bar. Vane leans back, a dark, amused smile spreading across his face. Well, let's see how our chosen hero is handling the loss of his cheat weapon. The holographic screen shows Arthur walking through the grimy, rain-slicked streets of the capital's slums. He looks absolutely miserable. His iron armor is dented from when Vane threw him into the cave wall, and he still doesn't have a weapon. Arthur's internal monologue plays out loud on Vane's screen. I can't believe I lost the abyssal blade. That was supposed to carry me to level 50. Who the hell was that kid? He had red eyes and black mana. Could he be connected to Vane, the demon sovereign? No, that's impossible. Watching this, Vane laughs out loud in his dorm room. You really have no idea, do you, Arthur? On the screen, Arthur shakes his head and slaps his own cheeks to focus. It doesn't matter. I have 99 lives of experience. If I can't have the sword, I'll take the tear of the goddess artifact. It gives infinite mana regeneration. It's hidden in the basement of the Cult of the Blood Moon, right here in the slums. The cultists inside are only level 5. They are weak, unarmored magic casters. Even without a weapon, I can beat them using my bare hands. I'll just sneak in and take the artifact. In his dorm room, Vane watches Arthur confidently kick open the door to the abandoned tavern and sneak down the stairs into the basement. A Crimson System prompt pops up next to Vane's holographic screen. The hero has entered the E-rank event, Cult of the Blood Moon. Admin privilege available. Would you like to override the parameters of this event? Vane's smile widens into a terrifying, sadistic grin. Oh, absolutely. Let's make this interesting. Vane types into the holographic keyboard. He accesses the dungeon data. He sees the stats for the cultists. Level 5, weak physical defense, low tier fire magic. Boring, Vane says. He highlights the cultists' stats and drags the slider all the way to the right. Override confirmed. Difficulty changed to B rank. Cultist level increased to 35. Added buff, heavy demonic armor. Added buff, frenzy state. Back in the slums, Arthur creeps down the dark stone stairs into the cult's basement. He remembers this run perfectly. He plans to jump out, use his high-tier martial arts and knock them out instantly. Arthur leaps into the room, shouting a battle cry. But the moment Arthur lands, his voice cracks. The panel shows a hilarious contrast. Arthur is standing there in dented iron armor with bare fists. Standing in front of him are not three weak, unarmored mages. Instead, there are three massive, 8-foot-tall cultist behemoths. They are covered from head to toe in spiked, demonic black steel armor, wielding massive executioner axes dripping with dark magic. Arthur's jaw drops, his eyes bug out of his head. What the? Since when do the blood cultists wear heavy armor? One of the giant cultists turns toward Arthur, letting out a monstrous, demonic roar that shakes the very foundation of the building. Arthur doesn't even think. He instantly turns around and sprints back up the stairs, screaming at the top of his lungs. No, 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 this is wrong. The wiki said they were squishy mages. But the B-rank cultists are ridiculously fast. One of them leaps up the stairs, swinging its massive executioner axe in a deadly arc. Arthur barely manages to dive out of the way, rolling onto the tavern floor. The axe cleaves the entire staircase in half. Arthur scrambles to his feet, pulling up his system window, scanning enemy. Frenzied blood cultist, level 35. Level 35. Arthur shrieks, his voice cracking like a terrified child. I'm level 1, how is this a tutorial quest? Arthur activates his only movement skill, dash, and bolts for the tavern door. But the second cultist crashes through the floorboards right in front of him, blocking the exit. The cultist grabs Arthur by the face with a massive, armored gauntlet and lifts him into the air. Wait, time out, Arthur begs, kicking his legs frantically. The cultist doesn't listen, it squeezes its gauntlet. Crunch, a massive, glowing red notification appears on Arthur's screen. Fatal damage taken, you have died. Initiating regression sequence. Attempt number 100. The scene cuts immediately back to Vane's luxury dorm room. Vane is lying on his king-sized bed, clutching his stomach, laughing so hard that tears are forming in his crimson eyes. Oh my God, Vane laughs. That was the most entertaining thing I have watched in 1,000 years, the look on his face. A system prompt appears in front of Vane. The hero has regressed. Because you are the admin, the hero's regression does not reset your timeline. Admin EXP gained from hero's death. You have leveled up. Vane stops laughing, a look of immense satisfaction settling on his face. He doesn't even have to lift a finger to level up. He can just farm EXP off the hero's repeated, humiliating deaths. Welcome to the 100th loop, Arthur, Vane whispers to the screen, his eyes glowing with dark malice. I am going to make every step pure hell. Vane closes the player tracker window and stands up. It's time to focus on his own growth. If Vane wants to fully unseal his demon sovereign powers, he needs to conquer this school from the inside out. He grabs the abyssal blade, strapping it to his waist. Tomorrow is the first day of combat classes. And Vane Valerius is going to make sure the entire imperial capital remembers his name. And that's where we are ending Chapter 3. What an incredible turning point. Vane just discovered he can edit the difficulty of the world to troll Arthur, and Arthur just suffered his 100th death. In Chapter 4, we will see Vane enter the Academy combat trials, where the arrogant professors try to put him in his place, and fail miserably. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Welcome back. We are jumping straight into Chapter 4 of the Regressor Exterminator. When we last left off, Vane had just discovered his favorite new hobby, using his admin privileges to turn the chosen hero's life into a living nightmare. Arthur, trying to speedrun a weak cultist hideout, got absolutely demolished by 8-foot-tall, heavily armored giants, suffering his 100th regression. Vane leveled up without even leaving his luxury dorm room. The next morning, the sun rises over the imperial capital. The sunlight streams through the massive floor, to ceiling windows of the S-class penthouse. Vane wakes up, stretches his human muscles, and feels a satisfying surge of power. Thanks to the admin EXP, he farmed off Arthur's hilarious death. His sealed demonic mana has loosened by another 3%. He is getting stronger by the day. Vane walks over to the mahogany wardrobe and pulls out the standard Imperial Awakener Academy uniform. It is a sleek black and gold tailored suit with the crest of a dragon on the breast. He slips it on, grabs the abyssal blade and fastens it to his waist. He takes one last look in the mirror. With his striking crimson eyes, messy black hair, and the dark aura constantly swirling around him, he doesn't look like a student. He looks like a king walking to an execution, Time for class, Vane smirks. The panel cuts to the massive Academy combat arena. The Coliseum is huge, with tiered seating for thousands of students and a sand-filled fighting pit. Today is the first day of combat trials for the first-year Awakeners. The atmosphere is tense, everyone is whispering, and every single eye is glued to the entrance. They are all waiting for him. The heavy iron gates of the arena swing open. Vane steps into the sunlight. The moment his boot touches the sand, the entire Coliseum goes dead silent. The students who were laughing a second ago instantly shut their mouths. Even the senior students in the upper stands lean forward in nervous anticipation. Word of the mana measurement stone shattering has spread like wildfire across the capital. They don't know if Vane is a genius, a monster, or an anomaly, but they all know one thing: they are terrified of him. Standing in the center of the arena is Professor Kale. Kale is an A-rank instructor, a renowned swordsman, and an incredibly arrogant noble who happens to be close friends with the Valerius family, specifically with Cedric, Vane's older brother. Kale glares at Vane as he approaches. The instructor has been explicitly told by the Valerius family to humiliate Vane today. "You're late, Cadet Valerius," Professor Kale barks, his voice echoing through the silent arena. Vane doesn't stop walking. He doesn't even make eye contact. He just casually strolls over to the edge of the pit and leans against the stone wall. "Am I?" Vane replies lazily. "Or are you just impatient?" The crowd gasps. No one speaks to an A-rank instructor like that. Professor Kale's face flushes with anger. He draws his training sword and points it at Vane. "Arrogance is a trait for the strong, Valerius. You might have broken a faulty measurement stone yesterday, but today we test actual combat ability. Today we spar, and I have selected the perfect opponent to test your so-called potential." Leo Vance stepped forward into the ring. A massive cheer erupts from the noble faction in the stands. Jumping down from the upper tiers with incredible agility is a handsome, blonde-haired boy wearing gleaming silver armor. This is Leo Vance, the top-ranked genius of the incoming class. He is a prodigy swordsman. And more importantly, he is secretly backed by a powerful constellation, the god of silver blades. Leo draws two beautifully crafted rapiers. He twirls them effortlessly and points them at Vane with a confident, heroic smile. "I've heard the rumors about you, Vane, but tricks and illusions won't work in a real duel. I will show you the gap between a true genius and a fraud." Vane slowly looks up from his fingernails, his crimson eyes locking onto Leo. A red system window pops up next to Leo's head. Scanning entity Leo Vance, level 15, class Twin Blade Prodigy. Constellation sponsor, God of Silver Blades. Active buff, Silver God's Blessing increases speed by 200%. Vane almost sighs. It's exactly as he thought. The constellations, the so-called gods of this universe, are already interfering. "A true genius, huh?" Vane mutters. He pushes off the wall and slowly walks into the center of the ring. He doesn't draw the abyssal blade. He doesn't even take a combat stance. He just stands there, completely relaxed. Professor Kale smirks, thinking Vane has already given up. The rules are simple. First to draw blood or yield wins. Begin. The second the word leaves Kale's mouth, Leo explodes into motion. Thanks to the constellation's buff, his speed is incredible. He crosses the massive arena in a fraction of a second, leaving a trail of silver light behind him. The crowd erupts into cheers. "Silver meteor strike," Leo yells, unleashing his ultimate technique. Both of his rapiers blur into a flurry of 100 stabs. It is a beautiful, flawless, high-level skill that would instantly kill any normal first-year student. The panel slows down time. We see the silver blades inches away from Vane's eyes. But Vane is the final boss. To him, Leo looks like he is moving through thick molasses. Vane pulls his right hand out of his pocket. He extends a single, pale index finger. Clang, a shockwave rips through the arena, kicking up a massive cloud of sand. The crowd holds its breath, waiting to see Vane's bloodied body hit the floor. But as the dust clears, the entire Coliseum freezes in absolute mind-breaking shock. Leo is sweating profusely, his face twisted in utter disbelief. He is pushing with all his might, his arms trembling under the strain. Both of his enchanted silver rapiers are stopped dead in their tracks. They are pressed against the tip of Vane's single index finger. Is this a joke? Vane asks, his voice echoing in the dead, silent arena. He isn't using a shield. He isn't using a skill. He is just using pure, condensed, demonic mana at the tip of his finger to completely negate an A. Rank attack. How Leo stammers, his confidence shattering into a million pieces. My constellation's buff, my ultimate skill, blocked by a finger. Suddenly, the sky above the arena turns a violent shade of silver. The clouds part, and an oppressive, divine aura presses down on the Colosseum. The constellation, the god of silver blades, is furious that his chosen avatar is being humiliated. A massive golden system window appears in the sky for everyone to see. The constellation, god of silver blades, warns you. The constellation demands you kneel and yield to his avatar, or face divine retribution. The crowd panics. A direct message from a constellation is a legendary event. Some students fall to their knees, overwhelmed by the divine pressure. Professor Kale drops his sword, his eyes wide with religious awe. But Vane just looks up at the golden message in the sky. He doesn't look awed, he looks annoyed. Divine retribution, Vane scoffs. You parasitic voyeurs really think you own this world, don't you? Vane raises his hand toward the sky and opens his crimson admin interface. The panel shows a beautiful close, up of Vane's glowing red eyes as he types a command into the system that nobody else can see. Admin command input, /mute entity god of silver blades, executing command. A pulse of black static shoots into the sky. The oppressive divine aura instantly vanishes. The silver clouds aggressively dissipate, returning to a normal, sunny blue sky. The golden system message shatters like cheap glass. The god of silver blades has literally been muted by the system. He has been temporarily banned from interacting with the human world. The silence in the arena is so profound you could hear a pin drop. Did this first-year student just tell a god to shut up? Leo is shaking uncontrollably. His connection to his constellation has completely vanished. He is entirely alone. Vane looks back down at the terrified prodigy. Your god is quiet now. Let's see what you can do on your own. Vane doesn't even punch him. He simply flicks his finger. The force of the flick acts like a cannonball. Leo is launched backward at Mach speed. He flies completely across the arena, smashing into the stone wall of the Colosseum. The wall craters on impact, and Leo slumps to the ground, unconscious. Vane lowers his hand and puts it back in his pocket. He turns to Professor Kale, whose jaw is practically touching the sand. He yielded, Vane says flatly. Who's next? Nobody moves. Nobody speaks. Vane just established himself as the absolute, undisputed apex predator of the Awakener Academy. Meanwhile, far away from the cheering crowds and the prestigious academy, we cut back to our favorite punching bag, Arthur Pendelton. Arthur is currently sitting on the edge of a bed in a dingy slum inn. He is panting, sweating, and clutching his chest. I actually died, Arthur gasps, his eyes darting around the room. He checks his system clock. Arthur stands up, his hands shaking in fury. What is going wrong? The wiki was wrong, my past lives were wrong. Those cultists were level 35 and wearing heavy demonic armor. That was a B-ranked death trap, not an E-ranked tutorial. Arthur paces back and forth across the small room. His massive ego is bruised, but he refuses to give up. He just needs a new plan. Okay, fine, Arthur rationalizes. The abyssal blade is gone and the cult artifact is too heavily guarded. I need to play it safe. I need to go to a beginner zone and grind stats. I'll go to the Whispering Cave. It's an F-rank slime dungeon. Slimes are the weakest monsters in the world. They just bounce around and deal 1 damage. I'll go there, grind for a week, and find the Ring of Swiftness. Yes, that's a foolproof plan. Nobody can mess up a slime dungeon. Back at the academy, Vane is sitting in the back row of a boring magical theory class, ignoring the terrified glances of his classmates. Suddenly, a small crimson notification pops up on his desk. Player tracker alert. The hero has entered the F-rank event, Whispering Slime Cave. Vane stops twirling his pen. He opens the live feed. He sees Arthur marching confidently into a damp, green-lit cave. Slashing at tiny, harmless green slimes that bounce off his boots, Arthur is grinning, thinking he has finally outsmarted the system. A slime dungeon. Vane whispers to himself, shaking his head. Arthur, 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 you really lack imagination. Vane places his hand on his desk and opens the Event Override menu. He highlights the green slime entity in the dungeon code. Let's see, Vane mutters, scrolling through the monster modifier options. Increase size. Multiply spawn rate by 100. And let's change their elemental property from water to hyper-corrosive acid. Vane hits confirm. Override confirmed. Slime property changed to absolute corrosion. Spawn rate plus 10000%. Back in the dungeon, Arthur is casually walking through a narrow tunnel, feeling great about himself. This is perfect, he laughs. These slimes give almost 0 EXP, but they are so weak I can just... Arthur stops talking. A low, terrifying rumbling sound echoes through the cave. It sounds like a rushing river. Arthur looks down the tunnel. The green ambient light of the cave suddenly turns a sickly, glowing yellow. A massive, 10-foot tall tidal wave of bubbling, hissing yellow acid is rushing down the tunnel directly toward him. And it's not water. It is comprised of thousands upon thousands of highly toxic, hyper-corrosive acid slimes merging into a single tsunami of death. Arthur's jaw drops so fast it practically unhinges. The panel shows a beautiful, wide-eyed shot of Arthur's absolute terror as the acid wave blocks out the entire tunnel. A slime tsunami. Arthur screams, his voice breaking into a high-pitched squeal. What the F***? The wave crashes down on him. The moment the acid touches Arthur's leather armor, it instantly melts into vapor. Arthur's iron sword dissolves like a sugar cube in hot tea. The pain is instantaneous and excruciating. AGGGHHHH, ITBURNS. It BURNS so bad, Arthur shrieks, thrashing wildly as he is swept away in the corrosive river. He tries to swim, he tries to crawl, but his health bar is draining at light speed. Fatal damage taken, you have died. Initiating regression sequence. Attempt number 101. Back in the academy classroom, Vane covers his mouth to stifle his laughter. The students around him flinch, terrified of whatever the demon of the Valerius family is smiling about. A massive flood of notifications pops up on Vane's screen. The hero has regressed. Admin EXP gained. You have leveled up. Vane rests his chin on his hand, looking out the classroom window at the beautiful imperial capital. Life is good. He has completely taken over the academy hierarchy. He muted a literal god, and he is rapidly unsealing his powers by using the chosen hero as an infinite EXP farm. I wonder what dungeon you'll try next, Arthur, Vane whispers to himself, his eyes glowing red. Because wherever you go, I'll be waiting in the code. And that is where we are ending Chapter 4. What an absolutely brutal and hilarious chapter. Vane just established himself as the undisputed king of the academy by blocking a Constellation's attack with a single finger, and Arthur just died to a wave of acid slimes. You guys do not want to miss Chapter 5, where the Constellations finally realize there is a hacker in their system, and they send an actual angel of judgment down to the academy to kill Vane. Stay tuned, and make sure you have your notifications turned on for Fate Library. Welcome back to the story, guys. This is Chapter 5 of the Regressor Exterminator. In our last part, Vane established absolute dominance by literally muting a god, and sending our arrogant chosen hero, Arthur, to his 101st death by turning a harmless slime cave into a tsunami of corrosive acid. But you can't just mute a deity and expect the heavens to stay quiet. We open this chapter far above the mortal realm of Eldoria, in the ethereal domain known as the Constellation Sanctuary. The panel shows a beautiful, starry expanse filled with massive, glowing figures made of pure cosmic light. These are the Constellations, the arrogant gods who watch the human world like a twisted reality TV show. Placing bets on heroes and dropping cheat skills to their favorites. Right now, the sanctuary is in absolute chaos. The god of silver blades is furious. He is frantically pointing at his system window, which still reads, "Error, you have been muted by the admin." "This is impossible," shouts the Constellation of the Raging Inferno. "An admin? There hasn't been an admin in the system since the Genesis. Who is this mortal?" "He's not a mortal," whispers a massive, shadowy figure covered in starry eyes. "This is the god of prophecy. I looked into the threads of fate. That boy, he has the soul of the demon sovereign. But that makes no sense. The demon sovereign is supposed to be locked in the abyss for another 10 years, waiting for the chosen hero to kill him. The constellations murmur in panic. If the final boss has broken out early, hacked the system, and taken over a human body, their entire game is ruined. We must purge the anomaly, booms the god of silver blades, finally finding a way to communicate through text boxes. Send down an angel of judgment. Erase that boy and the entire academy from existence. We can just reset the timeline after he is dead. The other constellations agree. They pool their divine mana together, aiming a massive beam of holy light directly at the Imperial Awakener Academy. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Vane is standing in the center of the combat arena. The dust has settled from his fight with Leo, and the entire student body is still staring at him in terrified awe. Professor Kale is frozen in place, too scared to even call the match. Suddenly, the sky above the Capitol cracks open. It doesn't just turn cloudy, the literal fabric of reality tears apart like paper. A blinding, golden light pours out from the rift. Accompanied by the deafening sound of a heavenly choir, the pressure is instantaneous and overwhelming. Every single student, professor, and guard in the Colosseum is forced to their hands and knees. The weaker students actually pass out from the sheer weight of the divine aura. Descending from the golden rift is a massive, beautiful, yet terrifying creature. It is an angel of judgment. It is 10 feet tall, clad in pristine platinum armor, with 6 massive wings made of burning white light. It holds a flaming golden greatsword that radiates pure, concentrated holy energy. Emergency system event initiated. An angel of judgment has descended. Warning, divine retribution is inescapable. Headmaster Orion, who was watching from the VIP box, falls to his knees, tears streaming down his face. An angel, why? Why would the heavens send an angel of judgment to our school? What have we done? The angel floats down to the center of the arena, its glowing, featureless face turning toward Vane. Vane is the only person in the entire Colosseum who is still standing. He has his hands in his pockets, looking up at the 6-winged monstrosity with absolute boredom. Mortal vessel, the angel speaks, its voice echoing directly into the minds of everyone present. You harbor a soul of darkness and hold authority that does not belong to you, by the decree of the constellations. You and this entire academy shall be purged from the timeline. The students scream in terror. They don't want to die. Professor Kale starts sobbing, begging the heavens for mercy. Vane just sighs. You guys really are dramatic, you know that. The angel raises its flaming greatsword. Repent in the ashes of holy fire, divine smite. A massive pillar of holy fire, easily the size of a skyscraper, erupts from the sword and crashes down directly onto Vane. The heat is so intense that the sand in the arena instantly turns to glass. The blinding light forces everyone to cover their eyes. He's dead, Professor Kale whispers in horror. The boy is dead, and we're next. But as the holy fire rages, a strange sound cuts through the crackling flames. It sounds like a keyboard typing. The panel zooms into the inferno. Standing perfectly unharmed in the center of the holy fire is Vane. His right hand is raised, casually interacting with a glowing crimson holographic keyboard that the others can't see. Holy magic is supposed to be the ultimate weakness of demons. As the demon sovereign, this attack should have melted his human host instantly. But Vane isn't just a demon anymore. He is the system hacker. A red system window pops up in front of him. Warning, fatal holy damage incoming. Admin override engaged. Recoding incoming attack data from holy fire to warm breeze. The towering pillar of divine fire suddenly glitches. The golden flames flicker, turning into green pixels of code. Before completely evaporating into a gentle, harmless gust of wind that just slightly ruffles Vane's messy black hair. The entire arena is dead silent. The angel of judgment freezes, lowering its sword in visible confusion. Its divine brain cannot comprehend what just happened. That was your ultimate attack? Vane asks, brushing a speck of dust off his shoulder. I felt hotter water in my morning shower. Heresy, the angel booms, though for the first time its voice sounds panicked. You defy the laws of the system, die. The angel lunges forward, swinging its greatsword in a wide arc aimed at Vane's neck. Vane doesn't even draw the abyssal blade. He simply catches the massive, flaming golden greatsword with his bare hand. Clang, the shockwave shatters the remaining glass in the Colosseum. The angel pushes with all its might, its 6 wings flapping furiously, but the blade doesn't move a single millimeter. Vane's grip is like a titanium vice. "You angels always relied too much on your stats," Vane whispers, his eyes glowing with a terrifying, demonic red light. "Let me show you a real glitch." Vane tightens his grip. Admin command, code deletion. The flaming golden greatsword begins to crack. Not physically break, but literally glitch out of reality. The golden metal turns into red and black pixels, breaking apart into raw data before completely vanishing into thin air. The angel stumbles forward, weaponless and terrified. Vane reaches out, grabs the angel by its pristine glowing halo, and slams it face first into the glass-covered sand with earth-shattering force. The crater is massive. The angel thrashes, trying to break free, but Vane places his boot on the back of its neck, pinning it to the ground. "You can go back and tell your little constellation friends something for me," Vane says, leaning down so only the angel can hear him. "Tell them this isn't their game anymore. I'm the one holding the controller now. And if they ever interrupt my class again, I'll climb up to the sanctuary and delete them myself." Vane reaches his hand into the angel's back, right between its glowing wings. Admin skill activated, core extraction. With a sickening rip, Vane tears out the angel's glowing golden core. The angel lets out a high-pitched scream of static before dissolving into golden dust, completely erased from the system. Vane stands up, holding the pulsing divine core in his hand. The sky above the academy instantly clears. The oppressive divine pressure vanishes. The entire student body and faculty are in a state of absolute shock. Their brains cannot process what they just witnessed. A first-year student just caught a divine sword barehanded, deleted it, and literally murdered an angel of judgment. Vane crushes the divine core in his hand, absorbing its energy. "You have consumed a divine core. Massive EXP gained. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. Your sealed demonic mana has loosened by an additional 15%. You are now at 30% power." A massive aura of red and black mana explodes from Vane's body, briefly taking the shape of a terrifying, towering demon king before settling back into his human form. He feels incredible. At 30%, he can easily wipe out a small country. He turns to Professor Kale, who is currently curled in a fetal position in the sand. "Class is dismissed," Vane says calmly. He turns and walks out of the arena, leaving behind a school that will now treat him like a literal god. While Vane is busy traumatizing the heavens, we cut back to our favorite punching bag, Arthur Pendelton. Arthur is sitting in a corner of his dingy slum inn, curled up with his knees to his chest, rocking back and forth. He is heavily traumatized. "A slime tsunami," Arthur mutters, his eyes wide and bloodshot. Why was there a slime tsunami? The wiki never mentioned a slime tsunami. The system is broken. The whole world is glitched. Arthur is on the verge of giving up. He has died 101 times. In all his past lives, he relied entirely on his cheat knowledge to get powerful items and steamroll the early game. But now, every single safe route he takes turns into a horrifying, overpowered death trap. He doesn't know who is doing it, but he knows he can't fight monsters right now. "Okay, calm down, Arthur," he says, slapping his cheeks. "Think if I can't fight monsters, I need an item that requires no fighting. I need something hidden, something massive." Arthur's eyes suddenly light up, the dragon egg. The panel shows a flashback from one of Arthur's past lives. Deep beneath the royal palace of the capital lies an ancient, forgotten vault. Inside that vault is a dormant black dragon egg. In the original timeline, Arthur snuck into the vault during a royal banquet, stole the egg, and hatched it. Having a pet black dragon made him completely unstoppable. Yes, Arthur laughs, his arrogant confidence slowly returning. The vault has no monsters. It only has magical traps and puzzle locks. I memorized all the puzzle solutions in my 40-second life. I don't need to fight anything. I just need to sneak in, grab the egg, and the dragon will do all the fighting for me. Arthur jumps up, feeling like a genius. He equips a black cloak and prepares to head toward the royal district. Back at the academy, Vane is relaxing on the balcony of his S-class penthouse, enjoying a cup of expensive tea. He opens his player tracker window just in time to hear Arthur's entire monologue about the dragon egg. Vane pauses, taking a slow sip of his tea. A dark, sadistic smile creeps across his face. A black dragon egg? Vane muses, looking out at the royal palace in the distance. You know, I've always wanted a pet. Vane doesn't even need to use an event override for this. If Arthur is going to sneak into the most heavily guarded vault to steal a legendary egg, Vane is simply going to walk in there first, take the egg, and leave Arthur to deal with the royal guards. Let's see how you handle a charge of high treason, Arthur, Vane chuckles. And that is where we are ending Chapter 5. What an absolutely insane episode. Vane just established his dominance over the literal gods by deleting an angel of judgment. And Arthur is about to attempt a massive heist that Vane is already planning to ruin. In Chapter 6, we will see the ultimate heist sequence as Vane infiltrates the royal vault, steals the dragon, and sets Arthur up for the biggest disaster of his 101 lives. You do not want to miss the climax of this story. Welcome back. We are diving straight into Chapter 6 of the Regressor Exterminator. In the last part, Arthur, having suffered 101 agonizing deaths and realizing the monster spawning system is completely rigged against him, decided to play it safe. He planned an elaborate heist to steal a legendary, dormant black dragon egg from the royal vault, hoping the dragon could fight for him. But as we know, Vane was watching the whole time, and the demon sovereign decided he wanted a pet. The scene opens at midnight. The imperial capital is bathed in the silver light of a full moon. Towering over the city is the royal palace, a massive, heavily fortified castle protected by elite-level, 60 paladins and intricate magical barriers. Arthur is crouching on the roof of a nearby building, dressed in a sleek black stealth cloak. He looks exhausted, traumatized, and slightly unhinged, but his eyes are burning with desperate determination. This is it, Arthur mutters to himself, reviewing his mental notes. No monsters, no glitches, just a stealth mission. I did this perfectly in my 40-second life. I know the patrol routes, the blind spots, and the password to the outer barrier. The panel shows Arthur gracefully leaping from the roof, using a low-tier levitation spell to glide over the palace walls. He lands silently in the royal gardens. He waits exactly 12 seconds in the shadows for two heavily armored paladins to walk past. The moment they turn the corner, Arthur sprints toward a hidden grate hidden beneath a marble statue. He whispers an ancient incantation, and the grate magically slides open. Arthur drops down into the dark, damp catacombs beneath the palace. Perfect, Arthur grins, his arrogance slowly starting to return. I'm in. The system might be throwing glitches at me in the dungeons, but it can't change the physical layout of the royal palace. The black dragon egg is as good as mine. Arthur carefully navigates the labyrinth of the catacombs, disarming tripwires and avoiding pressure plates with the practiced ease of a man who has done this dozens of times. He is feeling confident. He is feeling like the chosen hero again. But what Arthur doesn't know is that, while he was spending 2 hours meticulously sneaking through the gardens and catacombs, Vane was already inside the vault. We cut to the deepest chamber of the royal palace. The imperial vault is a massive, glittering room filled with mountains of gold coins, priceless artifacts, and legendary weapons. But Vane isn't interested in the gold. He is standing in the center of the room, looking at a pedestal surrounded by a complex web of magical chains. Resting on the pedestal is a massive, pitch-black egg covered in crimson scales. It radiates a powerful, ancient heat. So this is the black dragon egg, Vane says, his voice echoing in the silent vault. A creature of ultimate destruction, reduced to a shiny trophy for a human king. Vane didn't sneak in through the catacombs. He didn't memorize patrol routes or disarm traps. He simply walked through the front gate of the palace in broad daylight, using his admin interface to toggle a command called Perception Filter. To the royal guards, he was completely invisible. To the magical barriers, he didn't exist. He literally just walked down the stairs and phased through the vault door like a ghost. Let's see what you look like, Vane smirks. Normally, hatching a dragon egg requires a complex blood ritual, a massive sacrifice of mana, and months of incubation. Arthur's plan was to steal the egg, hide in a cave for 3 months, and slowly hatch it. Vane doesn't have time for that. He raises his hand and places his palm directly on the thick, scaly surface of the egg. Instead of using a blood ritual, Vane simply floods the egg with his pure, condensed demonic mana. The unsealed 30% of his sovereign power rushes into the unborn creature. The magical chains surrounding the pedestal instantly shatter. The egg begins to violently shake. The temperature in the vault skyrockets, melting the gold coins closest to the pedestal into glowing puddles of liquid metal. Crack! A blinding, crimson light shoots out from the crack. With a deafening roar that rattles the very foundation of the royal palace, the egg explodes. Vane doesn't flinch. The dust clears, revealing the creature. It is not a cute, tiny baby dragon. Because Vane force fed it the mana of the demon sovereign, the dragon has instantly bypassed its infant stage. It is the size of a large horse, covered in jagged obsidian black scales. Its eyes are burning pools of crimson fire, and dark, corrosive smoke billows from its massive jaws. The black dragon spreads its wings, letting out a terrifying screech, ready to incinerate whatever is standing in front of it. But then the dragon looks at Vane. It feels the aura radiating from the human boy. It isn't human mana. It is the apex primordial darkness of the demon sovereign. The dragon's fierce, burning eyes instantly widen in primal recognition. The apex predator of the skies realizes it is standing in front of the apex predator of the universe. The terrifying, massive black dragon instantly drops to its belly, tucking its wings in and whining like a giant, scaly puppy. It nudges its massive snout against Vane's hand, begging for affection. Vane chuckles, scratching the dragon right behind its armored horns. "Good boy," Vane whispers, "you're going to be very useful." A system prompt appears in front of Vane. "You have successfully hatched the black dragon, Ignis. Due to your overwhelming mana, Ignis has bonded to you permanently. The hero's destiny has been severely altered. Admin EXP gained." Vane snaps his fingers, and a massive chunk of solid gold floats into the air. He tosses it to Ignis, who catches it mid-air and crunches on the gold like it's a dog biscuit. "Now," Vane says, sitting down comfortably on a massive pile of treasure, "we wait for the guest of honor." We cut back to Arthur. He has finally reached the deepest part of the catacombs. He is standing in front of a massive, heavily enchanted steel door. This is the final puzzle lock. It requires a specific combination of elemental mana to open. Get it wrong, and the palace alarms trigger instantly. "Fire, water, earth, light," Arthur mutters, reciting the combination from his past lives. He carefully channels his mana into the ancient runes on the door. The runes glow green, and the heavy steel vault door slowly grinds open. Arthur pumps his fist in the air. Yes, a flawless run. No glitches, no overpowered monsters, just pure unadulterated skill. "The black dragon egg is mine." Arthur bursts into the glittering vault, his eyes wide with greed, ready to claim his ultimate prize. But he freezes. The pedestal in the center of the room is empty. The magical chains are shattered, and the gold coins on the floor are melted into slag. Arthur's heart drops into his stomach. No, 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 where is it? Where is the egg? Looking for this, a voice echoes from the shadows. Arthur snaps his head toward the voice. The panel shows a wide, stunning shot of the massive royal vault. Sitting on a mountain of gold coins, looking completely relaxed, is the boy with the messy black hair and the glowing crimson eyes. And resting its massive, terrifying head in the boy's lap is a fully hatched, juvenile black dragon, casually munching on a priceless ruby. Arthur's brain completely short-circuits. He recognizes the boy immediately. It's the same kid who stole his abyssal blade in the goblin cave. "You," Arthur screams, his voice cracking hysterically. He points a shaking finger at Vane. "How are you here? How did you get past the guards? And how did you hatch the egg? That takes 3 months and a blood ritual." Vane tosses another ruby to the dragon. Ignis catches it, letting out a small burp of black smoke. Vane looks down at Arthur, a sadistic smile playing on his lips. "I told you, Arthur," Vane says softly, his voice carrying the chilling weight of his sovereign's bloodlust. Your perfect little speedrun. It ended the moment I woke up. Arthur is hyperventilating. The trauma of his past 101 deaths comes rushing back. The abyssal blade, the cultist behemoths, the acid slime tsunami, and now the black dragon. It wasn't a glitch in the system. It was him. This boy with the red eyes was intentionally hunting him down and destroying every single path to victory. "Who are you?" Arthur shrieks, tears of absolute frustration forming in his eyes. "Are you a regressor? Are you a constellation? Why are you doing this to me? I am the chosen hero." "You're not a hero," Vane replies, hopping down from the pile of gold. Ignis stands up behind him, growling menacingly at Arthur. "You're a rat trapped in a maze, and I'm the one who designed the walls." Arthur steps back, realizing he is completely outmatched. He doesn't have a weapon, he is level 1, and Vane has a literal black dragon standing behind him. "Fine," Arthur screams. "Take the dragon, I don't care, I have 99 lives. I'll just regress again. I'll find another hidden piece. You can't stop me." Arthur reaches into his pocket and pulls out a glowing blue crystal. It is a return scroll, a rare item he bought from a mysterious merchant in the slums. Crushing it will instantly teleport him out of the palace, allowing him to escape and try again. Arthur crushes the crystal in his hand. A blue magical circle appears beneath his feet. He glares at Vane, giving him the middle finger. "See you in the next loop, you bastard." The teleportation magic begins to pull Arthur away, but Vane doesn't look panicked. He just smiles and raises his hand, opening his crimson admin interface. Hero is attempting to use item, return scroll. Admin override, save state corruption initiated. Vane snaps his fingers. The glowing blue magical circle beneath Arthur's feet suddenly glitches. It turns violently red, then shatters into a million pieces of broken code. The teleportation spell is instantly cancelled. Arthur drops back onto the cold stone floor, completely stunned. What?" Arthur stammers, looking at his empty hand. The crystal is gone, but he is still in the vault. "Why didn't it work? It's an automatic teleport, it can't fail." Vane slowly walks toward Arthur, the black dragon looming behind him. "Did you really think I'd let you run away this time? I'm getting a little bored of watching you respawn. I think it's time you experienced a real consequence." Arthur is paralyzed by fear. He is trapped in the most secure vault in the kingdom, with an anomaly who can cancel his items and a dragon that wants to eat him. "What are you going to do to me?" Arthur whimpers, backing up until he hits the cold steel of the vault door. Vane stops a few feet away. He doesn't draw his sword, he just smiles. "Me? I'm not going to do anything," Vane says. Vane raises his hand and casually snaps his fingers again. A massive, ear-piercing magical siren begins to blare throughout the entire royal palace. The walls flash with bright red warning lights. Admin command, trigger global alarm. Arthur's eyes go wide in sheer horror. "Are you crazy? You just triggered the royal vault alarms. The paladins will be here in seconds. They'll kill us both." "No, Arthur," Vane smirks, stepping back into the shadows. "They'll kill you." Vane accesses his admin panel one more time. Admin privilege, perception filter, area of effect. Vane and Ignis, the black dragon, are instantly cloaked in an invisible, untraceable shroud of dark magic. To anyone entering the room, they completely cease to exist. "Wait, no, don't leave me here," Arthur screams, frantically looking around the empty vault. He is completely alone, standing in the middle of a melted, looted room. The heavy steel doors of the vault blast open. Standing in the doorway are 20 elite, level 60 Imperial paladins, clad in heavy platinum armor, wielding glowing holy lances. Leading them is the captain of the guard, a massive man with a terrifying scowl. The paladins storm into the room and immediately surround Arthur. They see the melted gold, the shattered dragon pedestal, and the terrified boy in the black stealth cloak, standing in the center of the crime scene. "Intruder," the captain roars, pointing his glowing lance directly at Arthur's face. "You have breached the royal vault and destroyed the king's property. Surrender immediately, or you will be executed on the spot." Arthur drops to his knees, his hands in the air, tears streaming down his face. "It wasn't me, I swear. There was a guy with red eyes. And a dragon. The dragon melted the gold. I didn't take anything." The captain looks around the empty vault. There is no dragon. There is no boy with red eyes, there is only Arthur. Do you take us for fools? The captain snarls, a dragon, you are the only rat in this room. By the decree of the king, the penalty for high treason is death. Wait, please, it's a glitch, Arthur screams hysterically. The panel shows an epic, brutal shot from Vane's perspective in the shadows. He watches with a satisfied smile as 20 level 60 paladins simultaneously drive their glowing, holy lances into the chosen hero. Arthur is instantly vaporized by the high-level holy magic. Fatal damage taken, you have died, initiating regression sequence, attempt number 102. Vane watches Arthur's body disappear into the regression light. He chuckles, stroking the massive head of his invisible black dragon. Well, Ignis, Vane says to his new pet, I think it's time we prepare for the endgame. Arthur is running out of options, and the constellations are going to be very, very angry when they realize I stole their dragon. And that is where we are ending Chapter 6. What an absolutely flawless heist. Arthur thought he finally found a safe path, but Vane used his admin powers to literally frame Arthur for the biggest crime in the kingdom. Vane has a pet dragon, he is level 30, and he is ready to take the fight directly to the gods. If you enjoyed this insane story, smash that like button, subscribe to Fate Library, and drop a comment below on what you want to see Vane destroy next. In the next part, Chapter 7, we are bringing this epic story to its grand finale. The constellations will descend, Arthur will make his final, desperate play. And Vane will show the world why he is the true demon sovereign. Stay tuned for the ultimate climax.